the arguments begin.
Kia ora Aotearoa. The true demarcation of power in a late-stage capitalism, liberal, progressive democracy is the 1% richest plus their 9% enablers versus the 90% rest of us. Welcome to the Bradbury Group, New Zealand's best weekly political argument. I'm your host, the editor of the daily blog, Martin Bradbury. Bomber to my comrades, Mr. Bradbury if you're nasty. My pronouns are us and we. Coming up on this evening's show, the political panel all-stars tonight are Green Party MP Teanau Tuiono, Māori Party President John Tamihere, and Māori broadcaster and political commentator Matthew Tukaki. Tonight's one-on-one is Te Pāti Māori co-leader Debbie Ngarewa-Packer to discuss the bombshell Tāmaki Makaurau by-election result, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. Shout out to Kiwi Skirt and Chewy from BHN moderating tonight's YouTube page. Good evening to all the Bradbury Easters online watching right now. Your comments will appear on screen as we go. Shout out to our Wātea, Facebook, Rover and Sky TV whānau. And our Twitter panel this evening is Tim Selwyn. He'll be tweeting live online at Twitter, hashtag the Bradbury Group. Before all that, however, is this week's War on News. Brothers and sisters, Mātua Winston held possibly the saddest Father's Day event ever over the weekend with his New Zealand First Conference in New Zealand's landlocked depressed capital, Palmerston North. It was the usual blend of redneck lunacy, anti-vaccine cheerleaders, nuclear power fantasies, and Stuart Nash's $500 haircut. After attacking the Sun for being woke and demeaning every other party for daring to exist, Winston was reviving dead ideas he's been flogging for decades. Winston's been pushing for compulsory super for 30 years now and still hasn't managed it. If at once you don't succeed, I get it. But 30 years? I don't think people want to lose 10% of their wage in the middle of a cost of living crisis, Winston. People are more focused on the here and now than their retirement. Not only is Winston out of touch with the realities of the economic downturn his government has engineered, he's also in another time dimension from the average voter. How about less Back to the Future, Mātua Winston, and a little bit more K-pop demon hunters? Talking of demons, David Seymour was caught speeding last week by a motorist who estimated he was driving at over 130 kilometres per hour. The ACT Party leader laughed the speeding off, high-fived his social media team and twerked a response to the New Zealand Herald. To be fair on David, he had heard some young Māori were feeling a level of self-esteem and he was racing to see if he could kick their identity down. So you can understand why he was driving so fast. We're all laughing because it's true. And finally, in this week's War on News, research out this week shows methane leaking from coal bores in Queensland and North South Wales could be the equivalence of 65 million cars per year. The scientists warned that it could be the tip of a methane iceberg, which could lead to sudden climate change and extreme weather. Brothers and sisters, we're all going to die on a burning planet thanks to the lies of the petro-industrial complex and their polluter mates. To quote the great warrior poet oracle Mike Hosking, happy days. The political all-stars are up shortly, whānau, but first, this week's one-on-one in 10 with Te Pāti Māori co-leader Debbie Ngarewa-Packer. Kia ora, comrade! Welcome to the show and thank you for being available to the Fourth Estate. Your democracy is grateful. Debbie, let's start with the good. I've been commenting on politics for 30 years now, and the Tāmaki Makaurau by-election was a bombshell win, using a social media first strategy that captured the hearts and minds of a younger demographic who are increasingly becoming more politically dynamic and utilising their voice. You didn't just beat Labour, you demolished Labour. Is now the time, after such an emphatic win, to negotiate an MMP strategy for the Māori electorates with Labour for the 2026 election?
Look, first of all, ngā mihi for your recognition of how awesome Tāmaki Makaurau did in such a short amount of time.
Right.
We're really grateful and proud of all their tautoko. We have always offered ourselves up. We offered to meet with Jacinda, we offered to meet with Chris and talk about what a relationship to get rid of this government could look like. That hasn't been taken up. We were a party that campaigned on our wealth tax, that campaigned on whānau ora of GST, of kai, of taxing the mass property owners. And, our candidate went out there and she spoke our truth and the transformation that we want to do to stop the bloody pain that's going on with everybody in Aotearoa. And we need a Labour to step up and acknowledge that those are the best ways for us to distribute wealth and bring well-being for everybody. They weren't ready to have that discussion before the election, and certainly didn't present it during the election. So, bit of time to go, I think.
Let's talk the bad. If we agree that this is the most anti-treaty, anti-Māori, anti-worker, anti-renter, anti-disabled, anti-beneficiary and anti-environment government we've ever seen, isn't there an obligation on the political opposition to find a way to work together to kick this government out? What's the point of winning the by-election battle if we lose the election war?
Yeah, I think there is. And there needs to be an understanding that the politics and indeed those of Aotearoa have changed. And I think some of the bigger parties, the settler parties, aren't ready to have that conversation. I think it is just a matter of acceptance and maturity that it's going to be Te Pāti Māori in a position to determine who we will go with. If I was them, I would be doing it differently. If I was them, I would have been talking out about the policies and the common ground that we have with tax. You see us in Pari Kakariki are already doing that. We have been very open about what we think Aotearoa needs to do. And I think it's more about those other parties really taking it seriously about how we need to get this most destructive, ugly, hateful government out. And we're up for it. We're committed to doing that.
Let's talk the ugly. Doc's post on the ethnicities of Labour's volunteers gave Sean Plunkett, Mike Hosking, David Seymour, Don Brash, Winston Peters and Heather Duplessis-Allen all the political ammunition they could desire to paint Te Pāti Māori out as sectarian and impossible for Labour to be in government with. How do you respond to that narrative?
Oh, look, it's a narrative we've had for the last 18, 19 months. So it's not one that we're unused to. The fact that they paint us out as being extremists and exclusive is not one that we're not used to. We're human. We get feels when we're up against it, and the party leaders apologise. And I think that is the mana that needs to be asserted through that, through that discussion. But you've got to remember, even if we don't say anything, they will still find a reason to hate on the party because we threaten. We threaten the very people who fund them. We threaten the 2%ers that own more than 50% of the wealth. And, sometimes they've got to find every opportunity they can. And I think we tidy that up really quickly.
This all matters because recent polling from Courier and Roy Morgan increasingly show Labour plus Greens plus Māori Party would be the government. And with so many whānau working their fingers to the bones to just keep their heads above water, those who can't buy butter, let alone a house, they are desperate for some hope that an alternative government of Labour, Green and Māori Party can save them from this terrible right-wing government. Can you give those people in New Zealand that hope tonight?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've always been really straight up. It's disgusting how the waiting queues within hospitals. It's disgusting the way that the government's trying to move towards privatisation of health.
Yes.
It's disgusting how they're expecting people to pay $18, $19 for butter. All our policy platform addresses not only the solutions, but also helps us to restore what Aotearoa could be and should be. So absolutely, we've got a manifesto that is strong, and it lays it out for our people, for the, again, 90% of the population get a better cost of, a better life, a better quality of life from our policies. And I believe that us and Te Pāti Kakariki are up for it.
Yep.
We just need Labour to remember they're a left party and get on board and show some bravery and courage and start looking after those who work hard and deserve to live better. And I think that's And I get that reluctance because we do threaten the norm. You know, we are going to tax, those corporate entities. We are going to make sure that our environment and our families are looked after and they can enjoy a good life. And that does mean some transformation. We are going to make sure that Te Tiriti isn't something that's ever up for trading again. So, yeah, of course we're up for it. And we're looking forward to it as well.
Māori voters in the Māori electorates are some of the most tactical voting blocs in New Zealand. This government are moving to ban special votes by 12 days up to election day, a clear and open voting suppression campaign against 450,000 voters. Why shouldn't the left look strategically at using MMP to counter these right-wing voter suppression tactics?
Oh, look, I think that they should be. And again, like I say, we've always been up to working together. And we've been like that from the moment we got them when there's only two of us. What we see is that, Māori voters and the unapologetic voice for Māori is going to grow.
Yep.
We have every confidence we'll get the Ikaroa Rāwhiti and we'll get some general seats as well. And I think, we've got a party that's not used to seeing ones like ourselves growing so solidly. And I get what you're saying. We use social media. Actually, we're also out there on the ground face to face. And I think, those, it's an and we get to feel. And I think what we've got to see is that there is an absolute commitment, and it can only be done when we all agree to work together to get this government out. And
Preach.
like I say, we've always been up for it. It's whether people are ready to be brave and to be bold and to come up with the policies. And that was half the problem for Paul Penny, is that, we had Ordinary out, saying this is our platform. He couldn't offer anything. And, people want to know now, we're hurting. They want to know what we're going to do. Whānau Ora, for example, is a kaupapa that looks after the whole of, every New Zealander.
Right.
And, we want to invest and we want to see everyone treated respectfully and treated with dignity in Aotearoa, not just the elite and the select few.
This week, the government finally released through the OIA secret warnings by Treasury that the government's neoliberal 30% debt straitjacket would cause cascade failures to public services to the point that there would be a total downgrade of the entire public service. Why on earth are we amputating the services that so many of us are reliant on for a narrow libertarian view on debt?
Oh, look, and I think this is part of the whole reason why, this whole neglect and the way that governments cut whānau ora, because that's one of the biggest, the biggest platforms that we have to look after everyone, is that they're only intent on protecting corporate profits. They're only intent on protecting those who are doing well, and they don't want to fund healthcare, education and Māori-led solutions. And I think, what we've seen is public services, including whānau ora, they're not luxuries, they're actually rights. And so slashing them is an act of violence.
Yes.
It's an act of violence against our most vulnerable communities.
It absolutely is. How do we explain to whānau living in cars that we can't do anything for them because the Milton Friedman Glee Club is concerned about our GDP debt ratio?
Well, that's the problem, is we can't, and we shouldn't be explaining it. And any politician that's trying to justify that is because they are part of, the major groups that are funding, if not campaigns, that are the advocates and lobbyists that have been really unleashed with this government.
Yeah.
And, again, where I sit with seabed mining, we have entities that are coming in that we would never have allowed to not only exploit our people, but exploit our environment and exploit our ability to live peacefully. And I think this is, again, why Te Pāti Māori will continue with our treaty-based approach and funding solutions. Because when, again, kaupapa like whānau ora, they look after everyone. And we proved that during the COVID response. We weren't just looking after Māori, and we took the weight, we took the tension off the crisis in the public health system. And this is what we need to see in our mates that want to be working with us. Well, I don't think they do. Actually, they're going to need to know they need us, need to step up. They need to, they need to be prepared to upset some of their voters to do the bigger thing, which is get this government out and focus on how the hell we bring everyone's lives back to some normality where they can actually afford not only to live, but to live under a safe roof with kai on the table and their children being able to learn. Those are all the things that who thought we'd have to be fighting for in 2025. But And again, that's what we represent, and that's the foundation of who our movement is.
Amen. Finally, Debbie, Winston Peters attacked the Māori Party over the weekend with his usual mix of offensive insults and derogatory abuse. How concerned are you that political polarisation is only becoming more heated?
Oh yeah, it is. It is becoming more heated, but I see him in his twilight years. Are we going to be around a lot longer? The movement's going to grow beyond him, and again, we don't take it too personally because we're in the way. We're the only other party that's come back, and we will be in a king, queen, princess making position in 2026, and we're a threat to him. And a part of it is like I say, I love Hana when she goes Momo Tototo. We're proud of who we are. We're proud of Tangata Tahiti. We're proud of everyone that works together to look after each other. And Winston's, part of an elite few. So, yeah, I don't take much of what he says to heart.
Thank you, comrade. We look forward to speaking with you again soon. Kia ora.
You too. Ka kite.
Okay, now to our political panel all-stars. Our first panellist is the Green Party spokesperson on defence and disarmament, foreign affairs, national security and intelligence, oceans and fisheries, Pacific peoples, space, veterans, workplace relations and safety. Quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, he's the mustard. Harry Potter with a lightsaber. Tāmaki Tuiono. Kia ora, comrade. Welcome to the show.
Oh, kia ora, comrade. I just love the way that you said that. Big ups. For that.
One word to describe the week, please, sir.
Yeah, one word to describe this week. Well, I'm back in the house, mate. So, we're back at it. Back listening to the rubbish from the other side as well, and just bedding down to keep up the fight.
Our next panellist is the Māori for all seasons, a political commentator, raconteur and broadcaster at the mighty Wātea Network, media mogul and people's hero, Matthew Tukaki. Kia ora, comrade. Welcome back to the show. One word to describe the week, please, sir.
Moa.
Moa?
An extinct flightless bird. Because if the left don't sort themselves out and start cohabitating around a single kumbaya fire, they too will not make this a one-term government. They need to get their act together. And draw a line under this by-election. Great win for Mōreni. Kapai, kia ora, Māori Party, Te Pāti Māori. But now is the time to double down and figure out what the strategy is to apparently make this a one-term government.
And last but certainly not least, he's a lover and a fighter. But mostly a fighter. Former Talkback host, former Labour Party minister, hero who sued Mike Hosking for defamation. Ladies and gentlemen, the Māori Party president, John Tamihere. Kia ora, comrade. Welcome back to the show.
The word is grateful. Grateful to our people.
Beaming. Look at you.
Yeah. No, just grateful for them believing in themselves and shifting across the vote for their whakapapa rather than some party that's driven by others.
Brutal.
Who have nothing in common. Right?
It's going to be a long hour, ladies and gentlemen. Brothers and sisters, let's get into tonight's show. Issue 1, Tāmaki Makaurau by-election result and its ramification 2026 election. Issue 2, the latest political polls. And Issue 3 tonight, the secret Treasury warning of what government reduced spending will do to public services. Plus, we'll have a final word at the end of the show where each panellist gets to go to the mountaintop to see who breaches broadcasting standards this week. My money is on John. We all know it'll be John. Let's begin tonight's show with the Tāmaki Makaurau by-election bombshell result that saw the Māori Party's social media first campaign ignite and motivate a younger demographic to utterly overwhelm Labour. Matthew, it's demographics. 70% of the Māori population is under 40. Under 40s live their life online. The Māori Party have cultivated an online culture like no other party has. This result is a sea change, not an anomaly. Thoughts?
Oh, look, I think everyone's just reading a little bit too much into this. The reality is, if you want to talk data and figures,
get into it.
62.5% of this electorate did not turn out to vote. And I've got a question for every Māori on the electoral roll. Why did you not turn out to vote? Now, the result may have been the same. Te me. Not a problem at all. I think Oreni is going to make an outstanding MP. But still, you cannot get over the shame that 62.5% of this electorate, the single largest Māori population in the country, didn't even get their asses out of bed.
Well, you don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Well, hold on.
let's go.
Before we start,
Dance. You and me dance.
Surely a lot of people who are living hand to bloody mouth right now, they're struggling with the cost of living. They don't have the luxury of time. They don't have the luxury to be engaged with politics. And the Māori Party were able to catch a younger demographic and bring them in.
Well, I mean, did they? I mean, do you know the age profile of the individuals that voted on the day? I don't know. But I do know this, that you are right. I think there are a lot of people that are struggling with the cost of living. Maybe some of them couldn't even afford the gas to get to the local polling booth. I think the Electoral Commission themselves need to take a bit of responsibility for the fact that this campaign was not heavily highlighted. In fact, Te Pāti Māori, John and the team, and Labour and Willie and them, they were the ones that were promoting the fact that there was a by-election out there. If you want to talk about social media, talk about the work that was done by Te Pāti Māori and others to raise the profile of its existence.
Yeah.
And don't get me started about the mainstream media and their cockamamie stupidity. But Bobber, let's be really clear here. The result on the weekend may be different at a general election. Again, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it should not take away from the fact that Orini Kaipara has won, and she will make an outstanding MP. And I think we should celebrate that success, but at the same time be conscious of the message of the new Māori Queen, who stood and gave a speech for the first time and talked about a way forward. They're re-espousing the message of kōtahitanga, and that's why I said at the beginning that the left really just need to cohabitate now together and figure out where to.
Follow-up question. Shippy has come out saying it isn't guaranteed Labour would work with Te Pāti Māori. So is Stuart Nash the new hope for a Labour New Zealand First compromise to stop Te Pāti Māori?
Well, I doubt that. I think they'd rather work with Winston and Shane than Stuart Nash after today's comments. But let's be also careful that New Zealanders more generally are a little bit probably tired of the tail wagging the dog, in the sense that both New Zealand First and the ACT Party are telling the National Party what to do.
Yep.
And Luxon's just lost the plot.
Yep.
I don't think they want to repeat that by possibly either one of the junior partners in a left-leaning coalition government potentially doing the same thing.
John, you've cracked it. Your political connection with the next generation of Māori is incredible and motivating.
Yeah, true.
That strategy is demographically powerful across all the Māori electorates. Surely now is the time to reach out to Labour and cut an MMP strategy using the Māori electorates to change this government, because you've got the Māori electorates.
Yeah, that would be a great idea, and we've had this conversation before.
And people are very interested in this.
The reality is that you need someone across the table that's willing to have a conversation, right?
But after this election, surely they've got to come to that.
We'll see where it goes. I think all of you are pulling this and picking this wrong. At the end of the day, it'll be the Greens that determine who Labour goes with. It won't be. Now, every time the Greens have gone with Labour and Labour's picked, New Zealand First has picked them, the Greens have been shunted right to the background. That's right. Or every time. And then Winston walks away with a couple of billion. Greens,
Yeah.
So what we've got to do is wake up on the left to say who can give Labour some backbone and some guts, right? And it is the Greens. Our policy frameworks meet in the middle 85% of the time. And so it's a dumb conversation to say who's Labour, will Labour go with Māori Party? It's arithmetic. If they need the numbers to get across the line, and we will get the numbers. See, the Greens always get tagged with Labour.
Yes.
ACT, because ACT gets gifted Epsom.
Yes.
Is always with National. And then New Zealand First is always the one that picks the bloody rules, right? Te Pāti Māori now is a sure bet on all the votes in terms of a third party. That's why Peters hates our guts. Just a couple of things on the observations on the election. The largest cohort of voter in Tāmaki Makaurau in 2023. Too early to do the data. There's huge specials coming in.
Right. Yes.
We win the Defence Force. We win the specials. 2-1 going away. So the actual majority for
could actually be a lot higher, right?
Well, it's going to go higher. The other side of it is where did those votes come from, and from what areas
The booths,
of Māori populations? When you win 127 of 143 booths, Labour won 9,
Yes.
drew 7.
Yes.
Now, these are just straight numbers. To suggest that it's a poor turnout and it's just not going to work in a general election is nonsense. There's just too much of a momentum and a drive going our way for it to evaporate in 2026.
Follow-up question. With 6 electorates, your 3.1% party vote is wasted? If that was recycled to Labour alongside the overhang, a Labour, Green, Te Pāti Māori government could win 3 terms. What could you do with 3 terms? What could you do in this country with 3 terms?
Well, here's the thing. We'll be announcing a couple of bottom lines. So I suspect with the Greens.
Yes.
Because if people want our vote, they're going to have to deliver on macroeconomic change.
Right.
We agree with the Greens tax policy.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Labour hasn't announced it, sitting on the fence as usual. And the last time they made a tax a concession it was GST off bloody vegetables. So this is how, and they had total control of that government, right?
Yes, yes.
So once again, the Greens speak their truth, we speak our truth.
Yes.
And we actually coincide on taxing the 2% of people that rip 50% of the wealth out.
Right.
They pay 9 cents in the dollar.
Yes.
You pay 33
Yes.
minimum.
Yes.
Up to 39.
Yes.
No place to run and hide.
No.
They do. The money that this government voted to the tax breaks didn't come into the economy. It went into their stocks,
That's right.
shares,
That's right.
bonds and investments,
Yeah.
and it didn't fire the economy. Now, we've just borrowed another $33 billion under this mob.
Right.
No pandemic.
Yes.
Nothing. So it's the worst debt to GDP ratio
Yes.
we've got.
Yes.
The fastest exodus in 25 years of skilled
Yes.
Kiwis offshore.
Right.
I mean, this is a perfect storm.
Yeah.
That really, there should be a revolution throwing this one-term government out.
Teanau, if Labour and Te Pāti Māori can't work together, how can we get the change in government everyone is yearning for?
I think the expectation from all of our people is that they should work together, should get it together as well, and just to acknowledge the election as well. There was a momentous win for Oreni. There was a massive gap there, 3,000
Right.
votes, I think it was.
Right.
And I used to be an Aucklander, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was watching from the outside, and it looked tough for our whanaunga Penny as well. He put his heart and soul into it.
Of course.
But what I would say to that side, and actually all sides, is that we should dust ourselves off, get up, and actually think about what's best for our people. And people have it out in maraes all the time, right? You go out there, you have a big argument in the marae. Next thing you know, you're out in the car park. Can I catch a ride home, bro? I mean, that's how we should.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
And so I hope that people can put things aside and actually, put the bigger picture in front of us. And just to support this, we do need to have transformational change. Good to hear the support for the wealth tax. It's something that we've been pushing for a while because
Absolutely.
This is how big the gap is. You have 311 of the richest families who have more wealth than the poorest 2.5 million people. And
That's
that gap
obscene.
is
That's
just
obscene.
growing.
That's obscene.
And so it's incredibly important that we do have a progressive tax system, but it's a tax system that must be able to cater for all the things that we need. We need to be able to put food on the table, keep a roof over your head, all of those things that we should expect from a country like New Zealand for our tamariki and our mokopuna.
Right. Follow-up question, shouldn't the Green Party and Māori Party be meeting just before Waitangi next year to forge a Māori Party and Green Party alliance where you agree to a baseline of policies on a combined policy platform, including a united front to negotiate with Labour so Labour can't get a deal with New Zealand first?
That's a long email you just gave me. We do see our whanaungas in the house all the time. Actually, just saw Debbie Ngarewa-Packer today in the house. So conversations are always happening.
Yep.
That stuff does happen for us anyway within Parliament. It happens on the party side. I would encourage those conversations to continue to happen to happen as well. I mean,
Awesome.
we need to, right?
Yes.
Be able to make
Yes.
sure that there's enough cohesion in the left so we can kick out this useless, reckless, horrible government.
Terrible
Because that's what
government.
everybody wants.
Right? Matthew, during this by-election, Māori Party activists called Willie Jackson a colonised traitor. During his time in government, Willie Jackson secured $3 billion in Māori-specific development, an amount larger than any other Māori politician
Who made
ever.
that up?
If
Who made that up?
who made what? What, that amount? Willie says $3 billion.
Well, that's what he says.
If Willie Jackson's Māoriness fails the Māori Party purity test, what hope is there to change the government?
Before I get there, I think it's wise to make another point about the economics of what's going on today, because both John and Tuiono make a really good point. I also disagree that Te Pāti Māori and the Green Party should get together ahead of Waitangi Day. I think each individual party still needs to maintain their identity, separate themselves from each other to ensure that they can attract their voter base, because some of the voters that vote for the Green Party may not want to vote for the Pāti Māori and so on and so forth. So I think it's really important that they have their unique identity. Like, Te Pāti Māori speaks for a lot of Māori voters out there. The Greens speak for a lot of whānau, specifically interested in climate change and the environment, as an example. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, where the government is failing, and John brought this up really quite nicely and succinctly. I had to give you credit for it. But the reality is the amount of Māori contribution to net GDP is on the up and increasing. The Māori economy, I think back in 2023, was estimated to be about 126 billion.
That's
so on
right.
that front,
Yep.
the Māori asset base is growing and building. Māori are by nature of the demographic, and again, somebody could correct me if they really want to, but if they do, I'll clip their ears, is younger, and therefore the tax base, the personal tax base into the future is growing, where the older population, mostly non-Māori, are dwindling. Going into retirement, they're going to cost us more. And so when they talk about a wealth tax and these sorts of things into the future, I also think personally that Māori should get a greater share of the tax that they themselves are generating to reinvest in the Māori economy and boost it, boost jobs, boost housing, boost et cetera, et cetera. Now, on the right, they're not having that conversation. They're just stripping Māori back. And also, I get sick and tired of people boxing Māori into the deprivation bottom of the barrel. All Māori are in poverty. No, there's a great chunk of Māori also in the middle class. Now, just about the Willie Jackson thing. Look, I've seen some of the comments online. I think we all have. I don't think it serves any purpose to attack our own on any level whatsoever, whether it's Willie, whether it's JT, although JT and we've had some fights, haven't we? I mean, I remember when he called me that Sydney Māori. I deep my mind from that. Deep my mind. No, I've got no my mind.
Well, you're still coming back from that.
I invited you back, so it couldn't have been that bad.
Well, I took a pill and got over it. But I guess the point is that, again, I come back to that unity front. I do think Willie Jackson was able, during his time in the seat, attract billions of dollars over many years for Māori. I find those comments disparaging and unhelpful.
Yes.
And again, everyone just needs to shut the hell up and focus on the real prize in town, which is to make this a one-term government.
John, what's more important to Te Pāti Māori, getting rid of this terrible right-wing government or settling 20 years' worth of grudges with Labour? Which one? Can't be both. Can't be both. It can't be both.
No, it's the
grudge.
The grudge is in Labour's court, right? Yeah. That's why they continue to contest our seats. Yeah, they just can't help themselves, right? Now, pretty soon they'll get the message that they're not wanted. So, and they're wasting their time. But let's park that conversation up. It's to suggest that Willie Jackson personally had billions of dollars. That's just a joke.
He's worked pretty hard.
This is what this government's done. It's stripped back our money to 0.7%.
Yes.
Under Labor, okay, we started at 1.2 and went up to 1.7. So for every 2 cents, okay, we get, $1 is voted to us, 98 cents goes to non-Māori, for Māori, but by them. When they fail us, they blame us. Look, so when we talk about macroeconomic changes, we want to have quality control on who spends our money, why they spend our money, and why are we getting blamed? If you fail us, you should lose it.
Tiano, voters want to see a government in waiting from the opposition. Are they seeing that now from Labour, Greens and the Māori Party?
Well, you looked at the polls, but they're getting tighter. And the last one actually had our three parties ahead. I mean, by-elections are tough, right? They're rough, and that is the expectation. But at the end of it, I think it's really important for us to really think about what's best for our people. And what's best for our people is for us to get rid of this government, but to find ways to work with each other. We don't have to always agree with each other. Yeah. Just to Matthew's point, right? I mean, we're different parties. We're attracting different groups. We have different strategies. Sometimes there will be disagreements. I mean, we should expect that there should be disagreements, but we want to be able to have those disagreements in a way that we can still constructively work together. And I think that's what we're committed to doing.
Quick round. Will Māori Party take a clean sweep of the Māori election 2026? No. Matthew? John?
We've only got one to get.
Yeah.
And so if I was a betting man, I'd say don't ever follow Matthew Tukaki's directions. Yeah, right? Yeah. So all our resources, as of today, have shifted down there, and we're from the hut, that seat runs from the hut all the way up to Pōtaka, this side of Whānau Wapanui. So right now today, the activism from Chararoa to Ruatoria to Gisborne to Wairoa, the systems are being switched on right now. And so, and it's not anything about Kush Tangairi. She's a relation.
Amazing.
Well, she's a relation of mine.
Yep.
But great person in the wrong party at the wrong time.
You'll offer us something. Tiano, will the Māori Party take all the electorates in 2026?
Well, I'm going to shout out to everybody that's better at social media. As you were saying earlier, it sounds like they cracked the code in terms of social media. And you were talking to one of the MPs with the most useless social media game out there. So if there's anybody out there listening that wants to give your Uncle Tuiono a like on the old Instagram, Facebook, or whatever else, please do it. So I have no idea what that strategy could look like, but I wish everybody the best. But at the end of the day, we've got to be able to work with each other enough to be able to have those discussions and disagreements enough, but then constructively work together to actually get rid of these guys, to push these guys out. And just to the point around with New Zealand First, what we have seen them moving is progressively to the dysfunctional right. I mean, there's conspiracy theories, there's all these other sorts of things that are coming out there as well. They're a different party now than what they have been, and also with us as well. We're a different party as well. We have also grown in different ways as well. Yes. So I think it's important to note that the way that things were in the past will not be necessarily the way that things are in the future.
Comrades, we need to move on to issue 2 tonight.
I just don't think it's right to think that one single party should feel as if they should have the ability to have all of those Māori electorates. Māori are not a single homogenous voting group. They never have been, and they never will be.
You either win them or you don't.
Well, that's right. And it comes down to the candidates that you run in those seats.
Yep.
So fair play. I mean, if you have a look at the candidates that JT and them have got, outstanding people, maybe with the exception of one who I think is a little bit off the calendar at the moment, and we all know who that is, young Taku Te Whereas. Although he might also be saying the same things a lot of New Zealand First supporters want to hear. So who knows?
Okay. We're going to get into the last 2 polls, one from Courier and one from Roy Morgan, that show Labour plus Greens plus Māori Party being the government. John, 70,000 Kiwis have left New Zealand. Unemployment is 5.2. 30,000 jobs gone. House values have crumbled. 18,000 jobs in the construction industry have gone. And the cost of living crisis keeps grinding everyone down. These are all the direct result of this government's policies, and the economic conditions only look set to deteriorate. How much worse can this actually get for the government?
Well, we know for a fact that it can only get worse, but from its own advisors in the Treasury, the green shoots that they will bullshit and talk about is not going to occur until 2027.
Yes, that's right.
This is a year after the election.
Yeah.
Right. So this is all you used the terminology previous kumbaya stuff. So the problem that National has got, that New Zealand First has got, and that ACT has got, is they've tanked the economy worse than as if it was under a pandemic.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a fact. It's straight on the numbers, and they got to go.
Yeah. Follow-up question. Roy Morgan has National sub 30% at 29. Whenever National slips into the 20s, there is a leadership coup. How long before Luxon gets his marching orders?
I don't care. What we do is we just concentrate on growing Te Pāti Māori's vote. So we'll win the 7 seats, and we're building to 7%. We'll get no less than 4.5 this year, right? Coming 26. So it's all
Terrible wasted party vote.
Politics is all about. No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is.
You rightly said there's an overhang.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But your party vote doesn't go
29.
anywhere.
Yeah, but 29 it does.
Oh, for them.
No. Look, you have to learn how to count too. So you got to play the longer game.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. It's not. We don't live in a 3-year cycle.
But
as
people
our
who are hurting do. People who are
no,
getting
we
crushed
don't
by
live,
this government.
We don't live in a 3-year cycle where we sell our souls every 3 years and bugger ourselves up.
That's why a good solid strategy would give you those 3
terms. If you've got to have a
terms.
long-term strategy.
Yeah, 3 terms. That's right. Teanau, the trend is that the more and more voters see of this government, the less they like it. Yet, New Zealand First and ACT's rhetoric still holds appeal. How do you beat culture war rage baiting?
Well, we got to talk directly to our whānau, particularly our working class whānau as well, that are falling for that absolute rubbish as well.
Yep.
And we've got to be able to sort of talk to them about the material needs.
Yes.
So like food on the table, roof over your head, all of those kinds of things that our whānau need to thrive and be well, and all those other sorts of things. Focus on that. Because the thing is with these guys, right? They're trying to drag us into the culture wars.
Yes.
They complain about the culture wars. The next thing you know, they drag us into it, when actually we just want everybody to be well. We want people to be themselves, first of all, and to be that in a good way, but also to make sure that we can do everything to look after our whānau. So speaking directly past the rubbish, the imported culture wars that are coming in from the US and that they're leveraging and using as well, but to get through that is the challenge for us on the left.
Follow-up question. Matthew Hooton argues in last week's New Zealand Herald column that a second-term National would be even weaker in holding back New Zealand First and ACT. Could a second term of this government be even more radical than we're seeing right now?
Well, that appears to be the case. I mean, we've got a Prime Minister that is incredibly weak. Everyone talks about the tail wagging the National Party dog. We see that every day here in the House. He has been completely outplayed by his coalition partners, and they will continue to eat his lunch. So, like, the real losers, amongst the real losers in all of this is actually National Party voters, because actually they thought they were voting for the National Party, but they actually got the ACT Party.
Yes. Matthew, Labour are leading both polls. Why spook the horses with actual policy risk and just allow this government to straggle itself and walk in as voters toss this latest lot out? Can Labour risk more incrementalism?
2 things, Bomber. First of all, I don't think anyone on this podcast or listening to it needs to worry about what's going to happen to Christopher Luxon and his prime ministership. Judith will take care of that. Judith has come back from Ukraine with something in her bag. She's been suspiciously quiet. Crush is going to come back and hook him one. Before Christmas is my prediction. That's
really?
A classic. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. She's been quiet.
Yes.
And she's been hanging out with her mate Winston.
Yes.
I mean, so it's all on. Now, the other thing too is I think we've also got to be careful on the left of speaking to each other in an echo chamber.
Yep.
The people that all 3 parties need to get to in their demographics and their cohorts, and John and Tuiono can disagree with me if they want, they're the centre of New Zealand politics. I think the next election is going to be won by convincing particularly the mortgage belt Māori, to come in and vote for a left-leaning government, because they actually thought that this government was going to fix the economy.
Yeah.
Everything was going to be better after the pandemic. What absolute bullshit.
Where's your evidence that Māori voted for National in big numbers?
Well, not so. No, when you have a look at the numbers across the nation in terms of each electorate and the party vote in those electorate, for example, Tāmaki Makaurau, how many were there in 2023? About 2,000?
2,000.
Yeah, so that's a good chunk. Come on. Hang on, then wind in New Zealand first and our people that voted for it. My point is that those who vote in the centre are also potentially the ones that don't turn out to vote. My point is that everybody who listens to what each one of these parties is espousing today are going to vote for them next year. So what about everybody else that can be picked up to secure a majority to govern?
Quick round. Who will be the largest party by the end of the year? Labour or National? John?
Well, by default, not by gratuitous, wonderful policy and performance. It'll be Labour.
Matthew?
Labour.
Oh,
At
Tiana?
the end of the year.
Who? Labour?
Did you say at the end of the year? Well, we haven't got an election at the end of the year, so it'll be just the same, wouldn't it? Sort of your maths.
No, he's talking about popular polls.
And polling. And the polling.
Oh, popular polls. Who knows, mate? The people are the polls. There's my answer.
Comrades, we need to move on to issue 3 tonight, and that is the final release of secret Treasury briefing papers that the government's neoliberal 30% debt straitjacket was going to be doing permanent damage to our public services. Tiano, the New Zealand Herald had to make several calls to the Ombudsman to release an unredacted version of this. Why did the government work so hard to hide the briefing?
Because they're embarrassed, mate, and they should be. It's an absolute disgrace. They knew that this was going to degrade public services. They knew it, and they were just priming up the public to suck it up. And it's not good enough. We've seen it. We've seen how many jobs have been lost. Thousands and thousands of jobs. We've got nurses, teachers, all sorts, everybody on the streets striking as well, as they're being disrespected by this government, absolutely disrespectful to the workers, when everybody, all they want is dignity and decent jobs. And so they are embarrassed, and they should be embarrassed because they're actually ruining this country.
Matthew, Treasury warned that hitting the spending goal might also mean freezing inflation adjustments to things such as working for families, which would reduce the real incomes of more than 300,000 households receiving that tax credit. Many whānau depend and rely on those working for family tax credits. How would a real wage reduction like that impact whānau?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't trust Treasury to put a coin in a fat baker's piggy bank. That's how useless they are. And I think also what's been seen here in the last few weeks isn't just about the release of these papers and the Herald having to get involved with the Ombudsman, but the stoush between the Reserve Bank and the Treasury. I mean, they've lost control of the economy. They've now lost control of the two single largest government agencies, if you like, in charge or responsible for the implementation of monetary policy. So that's the first thing. But, I hate to draw the analogy with the fat baker's piggy bank. It seems to be that the piggy bank is empty because Chris Bishop's been in there fiddling it. The other point I'd make too is that wage growth or wages more generally for this government are foreign to them.
Yes.
It's foreign to them. For them, it's all about tax breaks. Supercharging the economy is about maintaining average percentage wage growth per annum, right? Unless I've got that whole thing wrong.
No.
But the second thing is they're also talking about supercharging the economy in terms of government spending, and that they appear to be spending all this money on all these things. That's also bullshit. So they've completely lost control over not only monetary policy, but fiscal policy and monetary and fiscal discipline. So, to be fair, I don't put much into the Treasury at all.
John, the right-wing lie used to justify these debt levels is that a government has to budget like a household. But the government is not like a household at all because it can just make money. Why are we underfunding our public services to the point of permanent downgrade?
Look, that's merely one marker of several, right? And so we just keep coming back to the scene of the crime.
That's the one.
And the scene of the crime is this regime, goddamn awful regime. The three-headed monster. And everyone has expressed this. When Luxon cut that deal, he cut a 3 prime ministership deal. When Winston walks in with his policy and program, he's the prime minister. When Seymour walks in, he's the prime minister. It's the first time that anyone, the great magician of putting deals together, of acquisitions, of investments, come back, won the Treasury benches, but lost control of them.
Yes.
Won the benches on the bench, but lost control of the money behind them. So this whole regime is about Seymour taking his money out for his mob, Both Peters and Seymour are funded by foreigners. They've bought the investor category,
Right.
and because they can buy their way everywhere, they've bought Peters and Seymour.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, there's no doubt that Luxon is buyable as well. No doubt about that. But under this regime, you actually see the money changing hands. Hey, from the smoke barons getting nearly $1 billion worth
Yes.
of breaks over 4 years,
Yes.
to you name it, the tax breaks to the top end of town,
Yep.
$3 billion to the landlords.
Yes.
And so all the money is going into the non-productive sector of the economy, which is the point I made at the beginning.
Yeah.
Now, if we don't continue to educate our people like that, because it's pretty simple. Yeah, it's pretty simple. We have to tax the rich, not because we're envious of them, but because they've rorted the system.
Preach.
And they have to be paying equality
Yes.
of the deal on whatever the asset split is and also on whatever their income is.
Quick
Now,
round.
hang on,
Quick-
Bobber, just quickly.
Yeah, yep.
The scene of the crime is the fat baker's piggy bank. It's the fat baker in the beehive with a steel rod, and that fat baker's name is, well, I mean, Nicola Willis.
Quick round. Are we ever going to find out what actually happened with the Reserve Bank governor in Quigley, and is the independence compromised now? Teanau?
Well, eventually it always comes out in the wash. So I think eventually we will find out. It just depends when, actually. And just to those previous points as well, it is really important that we work together to actually push this government out and to actually begin to talk to our people so they can understand what's happening. We know people are hurting. They tell us that they're hurting, but trying to explain it to them in a way that makes sense for them. So stepping outside of our echo chamber is incredibly important. But also, I think it's to Matthew's point, being able to find one of the three parties that can actually talk to these swingers, these swing voters in the middle that flirt between maybe Labour, New Zealand First and the National Party, or maybe even us as well, and getting them to actually commit to the left-wing party to make sure that we have those numbers to push these guys out.
Exactly. Matthew, are we ever going to know what the hell happened with Orr?
Honestly, who gives a...
No, look,
No.
it's quite an important. No, it's quite an important point.
From the
Here's
independence
No,
point
no,
of view.
here's the important point. Here's the important. You can have a go later. Here's the important point. The important point is the manipulation, of the public service, the beating up of them, the standing over them, the intimidation of them. We don't have a public service anymore. What we have is a regime service, right? Now, normally you would have an independent operational arm delivering your policy. That's gone now.
Yeah.
So every agency, it doesn't matter what it is under total control from the cabinet. Now that's Geoffrey Palmer's worst nightmare.
Yes, it is.
On his 1982
It
book.
is. It absolutely is. Comrades, we need to wrap the show with a final word. Teanau, your final word this week, please, sir.
Kia ora te whānau, just get out there and talk to your whānau and tell them to stop voting for these people, especially all our older uncles and aunties that are probably doing it. We've got to make sure that everybody works together to push this government out. We've got to make them a one-term government. So talk to your whānau, make sure that they understand what's happening, and let's do it.
Matthew, your final word this week, please, sir.
Buggery. And the reason I use the word buggery, I don't use that loosely, and I'm not trying to use it
you're
in
expert at it.
Well, I'm not. Good on you. Well, some might disagree, but anyway, the reason I use. You're right there, Bobber. Do you want some of my blood pressure pills, mate?
I think I need it.
Oh, geez, I'd cancel the peer review if I could. No, in all fairness, buggery is about the buggery that's underway with, again, the continued messaging of the economic credentials of the government. And no sooner can that have been seen with their failure to show up at Osaka for the World Expo. The only ones that showed up in number representing New Zealand were Māori. Kahununu were there, others were there. It was us that was flying that flag of economic development. The government were nowhere to be seen. Where was Luxon? Who knows? He was probably down playing golf somewhere. Who knows? Dancing on a stage.
Opening a Kia.
Yeah, it's just an awakening amongst our whole population base. Our Māori roll call campaign, where we're going to be at 9 seats in terms of votes coming into 2026. The way the government works, the electoral act, we'll only be allowed to have 7. So for every Māori seat, there are thousands of Māori on it whose vote won't count. So we are unequal to the non-Māori or the Pākehā seats, because the 50% of them are under the 5% threshold of 70,000. Our seats are thousands ahead of the 5% plus. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So this is not a democracy. This is Jim Crow laws in terms of pushing Māori votes into nobody's land and not counting them, right?
How does it feel? How does it feel that you're doing the job of the Electoral Commission to convince Māori to both get on the roll and get out to vote? I mean, surely you must be appalled by the Electoral Commission.
No, the state gets weaponised against us, and we're undergoing all sorts of reviews, audits, costs, and all this sort of shit, right? So we've got to go through that, and we've got 3 people in Te Puni Kōkiri. It's Leader Samuels, is Tuiono Schmidt, and his 2IC Sutton. We call him the SSS.
Stephen Sutton, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those 3. So those
Hang on, the
3,
what?
Well, the 3 S's, the SSS of TPK. Unbelievable.
Thank you, comrades.